In this video, I want to give my honest thoughts on Tesla's AI Day. I loved it. I have three important things I want to discuss with you from the event. If you are a Tesla investor or thinking of being a Tesla investor, this will be important to you. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video where I will share what I am doing with my Tesla shares after the event. If you get value out of this video as well, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, and please smash that thumbs up. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is Tesla. I really believe after watching Tesla AI Day, they are going to solve full self-driving. When you see the team Tesla has assembled, the examples they gave of where they were with full self-driving and their approach, and the problems they ran into, and then the adjustments they made to get where they are now, I feel more confident than ever that Tesla will achieve regulator-approved full self-driving. And if they do, I believe the stock will be worth 9 trillion is kind of my estimate, 8 or 9 trillion or more by the year 2030. I feel confident that Tesla will solve full self-driving because they have such incredible engineering talent. I am an engineer with a mechanical manufacturing background, and when I really think about engineering and try and answer the question, what is engineering? I think it's about someone meticulously building the details of a system or design. And when you look at Tesla, you look at SpaceX, and really all of Elon's companies, they're doing engineering better than anyone out there. It literally looks like alien technology. The level of execution is incredible, and eventually they prove every naysayer wrong. For example, experts said rockets would never land. Elon's SpaceX lands rockets. Experts said electric cars would never be viable. Elon's Tesla proved this wrong. Experts said production car would never do less than 2 seconds, 0 to 60. Elon's Plaid Model S proved this wrong once again. Experts say right now that full self-driving is impossible, or takes decades of time before we'll get to it, or it will require a multitude of sensors beyond just cameras and Tesla's approach. Elon's Tesla and their full self-driving team and their AI team, I think, will prove them wrong once again and show this is possible. Also, experts are saying that Tesla will never build a humanoid robot. Elon's Tesla will probably prove this wrong as well long term, though we'll get to the humanoid robot here in a moment. So the next thing I want to mention, just touch on, is the Dojo Supercomputer. The Dojo Supercomputer really gave me chills when that part of the presentation came on. Especially some of the implications of it. I'm not a computer or an expert in computing and the hardware of computing, but I understand enough to know that training a neural net takes incredible computing and literally takes time to do the computations, especially as you get more and more data you're adding into the neural net. So if the Dojo supercomputer can increase the cycle time between full self-driving software updates, the results could be incredible. Imagine instead of taking 2 weeks for an update, a new and improved update could happen every 2 days instead of 2 weeks. Could have incredible effects. The pace of innovation, pace of actually achieving regulator approved full self-driving, and then actually scaling full self-driving out to other countries where they have their own kind of unique conditions, weather conditions, geographic conditions, their own road conditions. And then finally, in this video, I want to talk about, speaking of naysayers, number 3 here, let's talk about the humanoid robot. So this is a very divided topic, with many people very hyped up and enthusiastic about it, and then others straight up mocking it. I'm happy that they announced it, because it did prove my prediction from a previous video right. See the link up above. But I want to be honest and give both sides of how I feel about this. I do always try to look at things objectively, and I think this is very important as an investor. On the one hand, building a humanoid robot that can be trained to do a multitude of tasks sounds very interesting long term, and it would be extremely valuable. But on the other hand, I think a working robot that is truly useful will take many years before it's a reality. If you think about a manual task a human does, the level of motor control required, of dexterity, detail, and knowledge of just what you're doing and why you're doing it is really incredible, even for a simple task. So imagine something as simple as picking weeds out of a garden or a lawn. This takes careful consideration, balance, and work to weed effectively, pull out something, carefully out of the ground and dirt. And then at the end of that task, I mean, it's not just the entire task is not comprised of just the actual pulling of the weeds. There's other things like the piling the weeds together, throwing them into a bin. And then when you're done all that, as a human, you'd go inside and you'd probably wash your hands, clean carefully underneath your fingernails, any dirt. So the question, you kind of have to wonder, would the robot be able to clean itself and actually get dirt and little things out of its joints and fingers if it was doing a task even as simple as picking weeds out of a garden? It sounds like a simple task, simple sort of boring manual task, but there's incredible detail and manual, muscular dexterity there and understanding of what you're doing to do it entirely autonomously with no intervention from a human. Certainly, eventually, all these tasks, everything I just described, and the whole chain of, weeding the garden, could be learned and mastered one by one, but I think it would be incredibly difficult. And in my paper bag brain, a robot that could do many of the manual tasks humans do, I think it's a significantly harder problem than full self-driving on its own. And that's really saying something because full self-driving is an incredibly hard problem. So, will Tesla ever have a working and purchasable humanoid robot? Yeah, I think it's possible because Tesla has such incredible engineering talent, but I see it taking many, many years. I mean, I could see Tesla spending the next 1 to 2 decades ramping vehicle and battery production while also mastering full self-driving across the world. And then maybe by that time, when Tesla is like a 10 to 20 trillion dollar company or more, they could be closer to pushing viably into the humanoid robotics field. And that could be something they're developing in parallel, crossover technologies there over that time. So I think it's sort of a longer term, definitely a potential that's there, but I'm not holding my breath right now. One person also asked on the Q&A how they plan to economically scale the robots, given that repetitive, mundane tasks that could be first that they could do first are actually easy to do by humans and cheaply filled by actual human labor. It's a good question. I think Tesla, but I think they won't have a problem. That's because Tesla now has the advantage of being a successful company that they can afford to develop long-term bets like this without causing any existential risk. It's different than when they were just starting up and doing initial car production, and any mistake at that point could literally mean bankruptcy. So financially, with the humanoid robot, they have a lot of room to improve and deliver, and really a lot of room for error to develop that in parallel to other technologies. And someday it could be a viable thing. So overall, am I happy with the humanoid robot approach? Yeah, I mean, I am happy they are working on it long term, but I want to keep my expectations for it as an investor very low at this point. Finally, I want to mention, you might be wondering, what am I doing with my Tesla shares? What am I doing with Tesla stock? I'm holding my shares, and I'm going to continue to hold them for probably many more years. They're about 90% of my portfolio, and I think Tesla really has massive room ahead of them in the next decades and even beyond. That's why I have such high conviction in the company long term, and that's why I'm continuing to hold such a huge chunk of my portfolio into Tesla and not rebalancing it. What did you think of Tesla's AI Day and their AI robot? Let us know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. You can also hit me up on Twitter at PaperBagInvest, so you can definitely find me there. Also, make sure to subscribe for more of the bag. If you got value out of this, hit that thumbs up while you're at it. And remember, it's in the bag. Cheers.